You know what's crazy? What's actually crazy is the fact that everyone thinks, like literally everybody, aside firstborn themselves, think that being a firstborn is an amazing privilege. You know how people think, oh, you are the favorite child, you are the most responsible child, you are the perfect child, you have everything all figured out. While I would not sit here to tell you that that's a lie or to like tell you that there are no privileges at all, being a firstborn actually has some privileges, true. But then the struggles of being a firstborn are actually way more than what meets the eye. If you have never sat down with a firstborn to discuss their challenges, you might never get to understand their struggles, right? You know, you've been born into a system with a lot of impossible expectations for you to meet, a lot of responsibilities for you to carry, not even minding that you're a child, right? From like your toddler stage, maybe once another child comes in, you're expected to be a parent. See, there are a lot of privileges, and that's the reason we are having this video today. So, if you're a firstborn or you know someone who is a firstborn, then this video is for you. In today's video, we are going to be talking about unfiltered struggles. Like, we would not sugarcoat anything. We'll be talking about the unfiltered struggles of firstborns, and we'll be debunking myths, like a lot of general myths making rounds out there about being a firstborn, right? So that's what this video is about. At the end of this video, one of the following things will happen to you. Either you feel seen, you feel heard because you are a firstborn, or you get to unlearn certain things you have in mind, right? Or you've always thought about firstborn. So any of these, but anyways, sit put and let's get right into the video. Alright, so I wrote down everything we're going to be talking about so that we don't miss out on any of them, and we're going to be starting this conversation with the struggles of firstborn. I wrote them down, so I'm going to be looking down from time to time so I don't miss out on the points. Now on my list, the first struggle of firstborn, which I believe it's a major struggle of every firstborn, like without exception. Oh, there might be exception, but like very few of them, right? Not even up to 8%. I can't say they're up to 8% that are exceptions to this first point. But then the first struggle of every firstborn is identity crisis. I know a lot of you would not believe it when I say that most firstborns don't even know who they are. There's this constant struggle to find out who they are, to discover themselves, and for most of them it doesn't even come early in life, it comes in the later stage of their lives. And when they get to that point, right, which I like to call the breaking point for a lot of people, that's when they become bad ships of the family. Now imagine a child being born into a family, born into a system you don't have control over. So you're automatically conditioned to meet certain expectations. You're conditioned to live the dreams of your parents most of the time as a firstborn, right? So you see most parents, like what they could not live out, the dreams they could not live out, the expectations they had of themselves, they could not meet up to, and you see them trying to like forcefully imbibe it in that first child, right? So it's more like first kids are more of experimental objects, let me put it that way. So first, that's where you see parents trying out their parenting skills. Now, I'm not here to judge any parent, right? We have to cut them some slack because they don't even know what they are doing. They are just trying things out, right? In fact, I feel like it's better in this generation than it was before, because now we have a lot of videos talking about how to be better parents, what to expect, how to set boundaries, how to, parent well, right? Compared to before, that there was nothing and parents are expected, and then it was already in their head that once you're a parent, you are a god, and what you say is final. You don't get to learn how to relate with your kid. You don't get to learn how to understand who your kid is. So it's more like whatever you decide for this child stands. It has always been like that, and it's always like that. So let's cut them some slack. But back to what we're talking about. We're not talking about the parents now, we're talking about the firstborns. or the firstborn children or the firstborn kids. Now you see that growing up into this system with expectations, once you have another sibling, you're expected to take up the responsibilities, you're expected to look out for that person. In fact, it gets to a point that you don't even know who are you don't know. You're living out other people's expectations. You're expected to be perfect for different people. Your parents have expectations of you. Your younger siblings have expectations of you. The society at large have expectations from you. From a young age, you're expected to succeed academically. As you are growing up, you're expected to succeed in life, career-wise. You're expected to succeed financially. Like, all these things are things that come with heavy pressure, right? You like heavy pressure you get. And now for most firstborn child, when they leave, they don't remember, they don't even know they were born into the system. They don't get to choose, right? The few of them that get to choose, you see them, they turn out to become rebels any early on in life. But those that probably would I say are not rebels, because there are actually two types of firstborn: the ones who are strong rebels and the one who are very obedient, and majority of them are obedient. And for those of them who turn out to be rebels, they are mostly people who like try to discover who they are, their person, understand themselves better early on in life. Now for those that did not discover that part or take that part early on in life, you see that when they get to adulthood, they decide to prioritize themselves. They decide to like damn the consequences, put everybody aside, put everything else aside, and like put themselves first. And that's why you see them rebelling. You see them disagreeing with a lot of things that things maybe family are bringing forth, and the society, like you see them just disagreeing to literally everything. And you're like, oh, this person is a rebel. And that's why you now see maybe a younger sibling coming up to tell you, oh, you are being disrespectful to our parents, you are being this to our parents, you're just wanting to destroy the peace of the family, you're wanting to do this without understanding that you've put forth you've been an understanding person all through your life. Now I know that a lot of second bonds and third bonds, there's this thing with bear order, right, are always like seen as the bad sheep of the family, and most times they usually have issues with the firstborn child because they feel like either the firstborn children are pretending, or they feel like the firstborn children are living like are hypocrites, right? They're not showing their true self. But the truth is, these firstborn children somehow don't even know how to speak up. They have never learned how to like stand up for themselves, because they are already conditioned that the day you decide to do anything outside what we have conditioned you to do, or outside what we have set as standard, everything will fall apart. So you have the responsibility of keeping everything together. You have the responsibility of keeping the family together. So somehow, even if they are not okay with things, they can't really speak out, right? And there's this sense of validation that also comes from it, because they are always wanting to seek the validation of parents, validation of society, validation of their siblings. You see them, even when it's not okay with them, they just want to swallow it down. But you being the second born, the third born, and any other child following, first, your parents are no longer strict with you the way they were with the firstborn. And now for you feel like you have your way, because you feel like it's you being a rebel that makes you have your way. The truth is, if your parent had followed you the same way, like the same strict way they followed your first sibling, you will find out that you don't even have a choice, right? You don't have a choice. So they are more lenient with you, and you feel like, oh, you can rebel. And sometimes you see that the elder one, because they are conditioned that they sometimes don't even understand you, they sometimes don't even understand your battles, because they don't even know what is right again. They don't know what is the right thing to fight for. They don't know what it means to stand up for oneself. And you see them, it feels like, oh, they are against you, they are against everything you do. But no, it's just that they were already taught and conditioned what is already in the head of your parents. So you are rebelling against your parents. Definitely they will stand on the side of your parents. I don't know if that makes sense. So I hope this gives you a clue that you should cut your first siblings some slack. And if you are the firstborn child and you are yet to discover who you are, see this video as a sign to step out of those, what I want to call cage for lack of better words, step out from those cages and those bondages you've kept yourself for long, and step out and try to understand yourself better. How would I put it? Explore get to know who you are. See, I'm a firstborn child, and I feel for a lot of firstborn child. For me, the dynamics of my family is different, right? While I have some of these experiences, but to a large extent, I'm grateful that the dynamics of my family, like, it's kind of different. But that's not the story of a lot of people. And also for me, I was able to like get to a stage where I said, no, 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 I have to step out. This is not what I want. I'm not okay with this. So even if you feel like you are okay with it, I am not okay with it. So I'm not doing that. I am not taking that route, if that makes sense. So I don't want to elongate this point, but I want to believe that I've been able to pass this point across to us, right? So let's go to the second thing on the list. Now, the second thing on my list is emotional burnout. You know how growing up from a young age, you have been conditioned to be the responsible one, to be the perfect one. Now, and somehow, in fact, not somehow, they expect you, everybody expects you to be the capable one. And so, because of that, nobody even cares again about, they expect you to be able to get everything together. So, even when you are going through things, first, because everybody expects you to be able to get things together and to be capable, and because you also have that thing in your head where if I break down, every other person breaks down. If I let go, everything will be in ruin. So I have to be that glue to keep everything together. Now, because of these two things, the emotional needs of response are not usually met. I know there's this thing that comes with parents having, or will I say, having other children and focusing on the need of the other children because they believe, oh, this person already has it all figured out or would have a way to settle everything. Now overlook the needs of these kids, and before you know it, they grow with that burden of, most firstborn self don't even know how to speak out. It's hard for them to have friends. Even if they have friends, it's hard for them to seek help. It's hard for them to like confide in people. So they can't let out those emotional burdens. And before you know it, it's so much on them that they burn out. And that burnout leads to will I say depression? So I've not done the statistics, but I don't know why I want to believe that a lot of firstborn suffer from depression. Trust me, because there is no one they can tell their problems to. They always have to be the one at the receiving end and the comforter of everybody most of the time. Now that does not mean that there are no exceptions. There are actually exceptions, but trust me, 90% of firstborns experience this burnout. Now you see, that's why you also see them there. It's always as if they are the lone wolf, and you see some sibling, I can't even relate with my elder sister, I can't relate with my eldest brother because that one is always forming, senior man is always forming, he's on his own, he's always wanting to be the big guy, he can't even do what we do. But you don't even understand that this person has gotten to a stage where he or she can no longer get attached to people, right? And that's why when it comes to romantic relationship, having a partner, it's a big problem for them because they don't know how to communicate their emotional needs, which is a very important part of relationship. So it will take time for them to learn it. That's if they meet a good partner who is willing to understand them and walk them through that stage of life where they get to know that, okay, emotional, you don't need to buckle up all your emotions. It's cool for you to say things out. It's okay for you to say things out and let it out and confide in people, and all of that. So that's another struggle. A lot of firstborns have emotional problems, trust me, that sometimes leads to mental problems. You don't want to, would I say, experience that, because I don't even wish that for anybody, right? So let's talk about the third thing on our list. The third thing on our list is parentification. So I know that a lot of people might argue with me, right? But the truth is, a lot of firstborn children don't get to enjoy their childhood. Now, this is why, this is my reasoning, and this is why I say so. Most times, because if you check most family dynamics in terms of having kids, it's usually maybe a year gap, 2 years gap. It's only very few of them that I see them having 3, 4, 5 years gaps, right? Most times, it's the most common is 2 years gap. Then you get 1 year, you get 3 years, right? Now, once another child comes after the first child, yes, when the when the first child comes, you feel like, oh, the first child gets all the attention, the resources. But the truth is, the moment another child comes, the first child is somehow left behind, and now is expected to assist the parents to take care of the other child and every other child that will follow. So most times when other kids are playing, especially when there's now another kid in the family, now when every other kid is playing, the first one child is expected to look out for that second child. So kids might be playing and maybe the second child or any other child that follows the first child get injured or something happens to the first child. The parents coming in is, oh, how are you doing? And the next thing is hitting the second child or scolding, is hitting the first child or scolding the first child of, what were you doing when this child was doing this? This is also a child, like, this is also a child that don't know better. But somehow, because he or she is first, he or she is expected to look out for that second child or for that other child, right? And now when you now see that maybe when every child is children are playing, the first child is always like on the lookout to say, okay, hope my sibling is fine, so that I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but most times most parents overdo it. It's good to put that sense of responsibility in children, but also let them enjoy their childhood. So it's not that a child, maybe a girl child of 9 years old, is expected to cook, feed, clean, and do every other thing because he or she is first child, and maybe the second child is allowed to like have fun, do what they want to do. And that's why most times there's this silent what I call it, hatred that comes with first children and their immediate sibling or other siblings, because they feel like, hello mama, this is not how you train me, why this free hand, right? And the rest of that. So first children are being forced. It doesn't matter if you are male or if you are female, but most times first children are being forced to become parents. In fact, it gets worse as we grow, because now you're expected to be the one to call your sibling to order. Funny thing is, sometimes when our parents can't even do it, they expect that you are able to do that, and when you're unable to do that, you are being scolded for why you're unable to. So why would you be scolding your first child for not being able to do what you as a parent could not do? But then that's the tales of first children, and they can't help it. So that's that for that point. And for the next thing on my list, it's the pressure to succeed. See, like I said, from a young age, you have to pass. So maybe when it was just you, there might not really be so much pressure of you passing in school. But let another child join. Don't you know you're supposed to set the standard for your sibling? Why are you playing when you're supposed to be reading? Now your sibling will be playing instead of reading. Why are you supposed to be doing this? Why are you failing in school? Why are you getting this position? Why are you unable to run? Why are you unable to do this? Now you're setting a bad standard or a bad record for your siblings to follow. So now, as a first child, you want to pass. See, for me, I experienced that, because somehow, it's funny because somehow in school I have to fight to want to be the one who gets a good grade, so that my parents would walk up to tell me, if you are failing, what will your siblings do? Right? So it's a thing, see, it's a general thing. If as a firstborn child you've not experienced any of these, even up to this point, and you don't feel this pressure to succeed, then you are good. Things have been good for you, and that's a good thing for you. But most times there's this pressure to succeed, even financially, because you have to assist the home, you have to assist your siblings. And truly, while there are exceptions to this, it is not the general thing. The general stuff is the pressure is there. There is no way, you don't even have a way around it. So even if your parents are not putting it on you, one way or the other, the society is kind of conditioning you to be in this constant position of being pressured to succeed. So now that is another battle you don't know your siblings face. Right now, you might be in a position where it feels like, oh, you're in a better position, and you're okay. Let me even bring this perspective to it, right? So a lot of people are like, my own firstborn child is not even doing better. My own firstborn child is not even trying to be better. I'm the one doing everything. I'm the one carrying this. I'm the one carrying this. No, but we forget to see that most of these people are not living what they love. What they are doing is not what interests them. So a lot of firstborns, most career paths they take are what their parents want for them and not necessarily what they want for themselves. So most of them just grow to maybe like it and just forge ahead with it. But probably if you leave them to explore what they like and their interests, that might not be what they are doing. So now a lot of them are living out the interests and expectations of their parents, and now they don't really have strong interest and passion in what they do. So even when they get to points or positions where they are stuck, there is no push or motivation to want to try and press harder and be resilient to do better. And so you just see them, once they are stuck, they are just there. There is no way, there is no motivation to fight their way out of that stage. They are not even seeing any light, because for God's sake, someone else wrote that story for them. Someone else mapped out that life they've been living, or that lifestyle they've been living, and whatever it is they've been pursuing. And so the person that mapped it out did not map out strategies on how to get out of those situations. It's different when you are the one that choose something for yourself. When you get to a point where you are stuck, you'll be forced on your own to find out or to figure out a way to leave that state. But because it is not you were not the brain behind the whole thing, you are stuck there. And now you see that's why they are unable to move forward sometimes. And then again, there are actually spiritual spiritual aspects to these things, right? So while they are physical things, there's like what they are physical things, there are spiritual things aspect to these things. Now, while your firstborn child comes first, there are a lot of people that go to check, okay, the stars of children in their family and the rest. So, but whether your village people or the enemy of your family or your father's side or your mother's side decides to fight, who is coming first to get the first hit? Now they want to know, what will this person be? Who is this person? And this person is coming up with all stars, and they're like, if this person should succeed, it means this person is clearing the road for other people to succeed, and bam, they start to attack you. Now that's another aspect to it. So firstborns have that both physical and spiritual pressure they have to fight. So if as a first child you are not spiritual, you are not prayerful, then trust me, you're doing yourself a lot of harm. You are doing yourself a lot of harm. You have to decide, intentionally push to be spiritual, because then again, spiritual controls the physical. If you're able to control the spiritual things and get a hold of it, you are way ahead, and you are over 50% on your way to actually tackling every other thing, right? So you as someone who is a friend or a sibling to a firstborn child who you feel like is not succeeding or is failing at things, cut them some slack and find a way to help them out of that situation. Try to figure out, okay, what's the reason why this person is doing this? Have a heart-to-heart conversation with that person, and trust me, you'll see that there's always a story behind it. And with you being there in a position to listen, brainstorm, and help, you would see that in no time that person will pick up, right? So that's that for the pressure point. And the next thing is being the forgotten child. I already talked about that, but the truth is, once other children begins to come, the emotional needs, aside probably the physical needs of the child, right, maybe going to school, paying for the school fees, and maybe getting one or two things right, are being met, which is, for me, is just 20% of life itself. The emotional needs of the child, they are not met. Now, so let's come to even academic. So you see that once there are other kids, you see that parents kind of focus on helping the other kids, become better academically, because they believe that first child should be able to figure it out. You get? So that's the experience of firstborn children. I think it's also an emotional experience because they feel forgotten most of the times. That's another struggle. Now let's talk about the next thing on the list. So the next thing on my list is struggle with authority. Now, firstborns have this complicated relationship with authority. So when you go to schools, they go to workplaces and any other place that is not home, and they get to experience any form of authority. They snap most times, because there is this automatic response. It's just like automatic reaction. They can't even control it. There's a word for it that I can't remember at this moment, but there's this automatic response that make them snap. Like, you can't control them. Like, so somehow when they're outside the home, they know they know what it means to be controlled. They know what it means to be oppressed by authority, kind of. But when they're at home, it's just as if they're powerless. But outside the home, they kind of get triggered. Yes, I think that's the word. They get triggered by authorities, and so if they step into a place where there's probably really no leader, you can see them stepping in, which is a good thing. Like, they step in to want to take over and control, things and take charge of things. But then if they step into like a space where there is a leader and the leader is wanting to be controlling, there's always a clash. And now that's another struggle. Me, for one, I have that thing, because before now, if I step into a space, I have to like intentionally talk myself into calming down, right? Understanding that this is an authority and I don't always have to be the leader, and I have to let others lead. So it's a struggle. It's something that as most firstborns learn. Most people learn the hard way, but it's one thing that we struggle with most of the times to learn. And if as a firstborn you've not really noticed, you are not, will I say you're not aware of this, you should start being aware of it. So probably you see yourself clashing so much with authority. Probably it's time for you to step back and understand that you would not always be the leader everywhere. There are other people who lead, right? There are times you step into positions where other people lead. It doesn't matter their age, it doesn't matter of their age or their position or whatever. Just know that at that point you have to learn to follow. So in life, you have to learn to be a leader when it's called for, and learn to follow when it's called for. So while a lot of people don't talk about it, this is a struggle for firstborns, right? Okay, and then the next thing on my list, which is the last thing on the list of the struggles that a lot of firstborn go through, right? Then again, this list is not exhaustive, but then for my own list that I've been able to put together, this is the last thing on the list, and that is asking for help. Oh my God, my brothers, my sister, my darlings, tribe, fam, this is a big problem. I, for one, have that problem. See, I find it very difficult asking for help. And I know it's the thing with firstborns. Why? Because literally everybody expects you to have it figured out. Literally everybody expects you to be capable. So then again, maybe a pride hit somehow, but because everybody have it figured out, if you even go to ask for help, they might they might see you to be incompetent. Why that might not really be the case, but that's what it looks like most of the time. And while it looks like that, sometimes it's the case because they expect you to be capable. So when they come, they now tag you as someone who is incompetent. And so that's why you see a lot of firstborn children struggling. Like, they are struggling. And sometimes for people who have finally come to have conversations with their elder siblings, they find out that, there were really battles this person was facing and fighting alone, and we weren't there for this person, right? And you don't care. Why didn't you tell us? How am I supposed to tell you when you yourself come to me for help and somehow you expect me to have things figured out? So if I am coming to you for help, it sometimes for me it feels like you are going to be in a more tight situation, because who would you now run to when you need help, right? So for me, I had to learn early that I need help, and I have to learn to start helping. And I think for me, my first practice ground are more of my siblings. So I try to reach out to help from them whenever I need one, and starting out with them made it easier for me. And while it's still a major struggle for me, it's something I'm still trying to work out. So it's a struggle for a lot of firstborn children. And if you are a friend or a sibling, because most times they would not reach out, I would want to implore you to please try reaching out to them to ask if they need help. And sometimes don't wait for them to ask. If you see something you feel like they need help, please offer help. See, sometimes they would reject it, but you see, when they're rejecting, insist, because sometimes they're rejecting it out of pride or just to save face, but it's not like they really want it. They need the help. So please reach out, insist, and help out, right? So that's that for the struggles of firstborns. I hope I've been able to expose or bring to your awareness these struggles. So when you are dealing with a firstborn child, whether as a sibling, as a parent, as a friend, you know how to navigate the whole situation, and you know how to handle them better. So now it's time for us to debunk some myths about firstborn children. So the first thing on my list is that firstborn kids are the responsible children. Now this is tricky. This is not always true. It's tricky because it's not always true. While some firstborn, take up this leadership roles, take up this responsibility, and they man up, they front these things. Some of them are not responsible. Some of them don't care. So, some firstborn don't care. Some firstborns are lazy. Some firstborns are like they are the bad eggs, like the real bad eggs of the family. They are the ones that want to scatter. See, firstborns are not always the responsible ones, right? So that's what I want to let you know. So don't see every firstborn and expect the firstborn to be the responsible one. Don't assume that a firstborn is responsible just because the firstborn is the firstborn. As a human, just see every firstborn as a human who is capable of failing or capable of being incompetent. So don't have that expectation because, oh, you're a first child, I know you'll be able to figure things out. Don't do that, right? So now the next thing on my list is that the next myth on my list is that firstborn have it the easiest. Who told you that? Please, who told you that? We have a lot of pressure. See, a lot of pressure. See, while secondborns, thirdborns, and other kids that follow feel like, oh, they are rebel, and don't you see that you have your way most of the times? We as firstborn, we don't have that easy privilege that we use. We don't have it that way. Things are not easy. We have the most pressure when it comes to family dynamics. Most times we have the most pressure. So it happens majorly to firstborns in general and boys, right? Male children who are not male children, like if you are a boy and you are the first boy, so it happens to firstborns and first boy child or children, right? The pressure. A funny thing is, it gets worse. Worse. That's what they say in most means, right? It gets worse as we grow. So the pressure is much. We don't really have it easy in any way. Pressure to succeed, pressure to be better. We have to take up responsibilities we did not even sign up for. And those we signed up for, we have to look out for ourselves and for everybody. See, there's a lot of pressure that comes with it, right? So we don't have it easy at all. So please don't fall for that lie, right? So the next thing on my list is firstborns are controlling. And like I said, you can't blame us, you can't blame us. We have always been conditioned to believe that we are the glue that holds everything. We've always been conditioned to make sure we don't let anything fall apart. We have been conditioned that if we don't take care of things, they would fall to ruins. So we can't even help it when we jump into situations we are not supposed to jump into. We can't help it most times when we try to control your life and make sure that you as a sibling or you as a friend don't get things wrong. And sometimes we forget that you're also human and you know what you want for yourself and you can control things your own way. It's something that we forget, and while it's not so much of a good thing, right, cut off some slack. Please, right? Please, I'm begging. Cut off some slack. It's not something we do. It's something that was like conditioned into us, something that was imbibed into us. We were forced into that system of control. And so it takes determination, it takes intentionality to work on oneself to not be controlling. See, believe me, a lot of firstborns are working on it. While some people are not yet aware of that, some people are really not aware of it. So I hope this video brings this to the awareness to every firstborn, that when you're dealing with people, be it your sibling, be it your friends, sometimes step back. Be it your partner, your relationship, romantic relationship, your partner, sometimes step back. Your colleagues, sometimes step back and let other people lead. Step back, let other people take charge, right? Step back and let people like control their life. So you can advise, you can guide, right? But don't always want to take charge or be in control, right? So that's that for that point. The next thing on my list is Firstborns have always have their life figured out. Who told you that? Like, who lies to you? Like I said, most times, most firstborns are like living the expectations and the dreams of their parents and the expectations of society, and most of them don't even know what they are doing. So, unlike you, we even already know what you are doing, you know yourself, and you're already fighting, right? You know yourself, you know what you're doing, and you're already fighting to explore and become a better version of yourself. We are trying to become better versions of who our parents want us to be, right? And so when we get to the point where we finally come to the awareness to explore what we want for ourselves, we are struggling like everyone else. We are still trying to figure it out. See, we are not as capable as you think. We struggle a lot. We don't have our life figured out. We are humans after all now. We are humans. So same way you are struggling to like know what you want for yourself, get things done, we are doing it. The only difference is most times we don't share our battles. We hide them just so we don't look incompetent to people, and just so you don't even see us fail and you become it. So it's just more like we are trying to be strong for every other person. Do you get? So it's not we don't have it figured out, believe me, right? So and the next thing on my list is firstborns are the favorites. Oh my god. See, it's not that we are the favorite, it's just that we are too obedient. It's just that we are too obedient and we don't rebel because again we are conditioned from birth, right? So we are always saying yes to what our parents want, and that's why I feel like, can't you see your elder sister, can't you see your elder brother, he doesn't complain, he's very obedient. See, we need help. If you can help us, help us. We need help. We're not really the favorite children. It's just that we have already been conditioned to adapt and work in the system they've already set and the standard they've set. And that's why whenever we decide not to do that or not to work in those paths, the trouble is even worse than you who is a second born or a third born, believe me. Right? So that's that for this video. That's that for the myths of firstborns, right? The myths or the generalized myths a lot of people have about firstborns. So hopefully I want to believe that I have been able to like bring to awareness the struggles, literally without sugarcoating, right? The struggles of firstborns, and I've also been able to, you know, debunk the myths that people have about being firstborns. So if you are a firstborn, I want to tell you it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to like be considerate of yourself. Like, it's okay. It's also okay to set boundaries. It's okay to push when you see, it's okay to rebel. Let me put it down. It's okay to rebel, right? So, and if you are not a firstborn, hopefully this helps you understand the dynamics of attitudes and behaviors around your firstborn friends and firstborn siblings, right? So, maybe you should send them this video, right? Maybe send them this video, ask them, is this familiar? Does this sound familiar to you? Is this a thing for you? Send them the video. Trust me, they would have something to say. And I'll be in the comments waiting to see your comments. If you are a firstborn, I'll be waiting to see which part of this video resonates with you. And if you are the sibling to someone who is a firstborn or a friend, I want to also see the part of the video that resonates with you. And I would also like to know if this video brought to your awareness certain struggles of firstborns, and it also debunked myths you had about firstborns, and in some way you've unlearned certain things, you know, and your eyes have been open to certain things. Now I know you like this video, I know you love this video, so subscribe. Make sure you share this video to every firstborn. In fact, so far you are watching this video and you're not a firstborn, you have someone who is a friend who is a firstborn, or you have an elder sibling who is a firstborn, so make sure you share this video to them and like this video. Make sure to like this video, please. I would appreciate your comment. Also turn on the notification button so that you get to be notified when I upload other videos, right? And if you like videos like this, stay tuned. Like I said, don't forget to subscribe so you get notifications. I also linked in the description box. Links to, I dropped in the description box links to other videos which I believe would interest you, so you can go to the description box, check them out, or you check out the channel in general. Right, see you. That's all for today, so see you next week. Bye.